Welcome to the Macro Habits Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah. Happy Friday, you guys. I usually film podcasts on Friday. It's just a nice way to wrap up the week. I feel like I have a lot to talk about. And in today's episode, we're going to do an unfiltered Q&A. I did a poll on my Instagram, or like a Q&A box with an Ask Me Anything. So I got a lot of good questions. I gathered kind of my most frequently asked ones and some ones that I feel like you guys would want to know. So we're going to get right into the Q&A, but first I'm going to do my high and low of the week. And for this week, I don't really have a super big low that I feel like I'd want to talk about, which is a great thing to have. So I'm going to do 2 mini highs because they're minor, but I'm really excited about them. The first one being I just got my thyroid checked. I have hypothyroidism. I found out a few years ago, and so I've been on medication and doing some things to help it, and I got it checked 2 weeks ago, and I'm finally in the normal range with my thyroid, which I'm so excited about. With that being said, I am on the low end still, looking at the spectrum. I'm just now in the green, but it's kind of teetering on being low. So I'm hoping that it just continues to become more normal and regulated, but I made major improvement. And I think 2 things I've done that have really helped that is, first thing, I've increased my fats. So that's something I've done in my macro split, and I've talked about it on Instagram. My fats are way higher than they used to be. I used to have a 48 to 55 gram amount of fat each day, and now I'm upwards of 80 grams a day. And I think that's really helped my thyroid and also helped my hormone regulation, libido, energy, all of that stuff. And then the second thing with my thyroid is when I found out I had hypothyroidism, I was doing a ton of high intensity interval training, specifically spin. I don't know if you guys remember my era of being obsessed with spin, but I would do it 4 days a week, 1-hour classes. I would go all out, and I think my body just got completely depleted. My cortisol was through the roof. I had a little bit more puffiness and inflammation. So for cardio now, I just do a lot of outdoor walks. Sometimes I'll jump on the Stairmaster or the treadmill for 10 to 20 minutes, but mostly I just do a lot of outdoor walks. So I'm so happy that my thyroid is getting regulated. I'm actually going to take a break off of the medication that I'm on as well. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's levothyroxine. I probably just butchered that, but I'm going to stop taking that periodically. I don't really even want to take that. I was taking it to obviously help my thyroid and help the symptoms of hypothyroidism. So as of now, I'm going to halt that for a minute, and then I'll get mine tested again in 6 weeks and kind of see where I'm at, and I'll keep you guys in the loop. My next mini high, I'm going to do 2 mini highs, is I talked about this on last week, but I've been teetering back and forth on if I'm going to do Accutane again because I've been feeling some of those cystic kind of pimples come back up. And I talked to my dermatologist, and she prescribed a topical spironolactone. So I've been applying this thin layer of the topical cream on my face at night, and I have noticed a positive difference. So fingers crossed, I'm going to kind of keep using that throughout the week, and I hope that it continues to kind of help the acne not come to the surface, just help my acne in general. But if I do Accutane again, I will 100% keep you guys in the loop with that. I had a really good first experience with Accutane. So doing it again, I just don't really want to do it again because you have really dry skin, dry lips. There are some symptoms that can come from it, which are all very doable, but I don't want to do it again if possible. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. Let's get into my unfiltered question Q&A. These are questions all over the map, from personal, health and wellness, spiritual. So first question that I get a lot is, how did you get abs? So this is kind of a loaded question. I mean, we've all heard the saying, abs are made in the kitchen, and I really think that is true. I would say the way I've been able to define my core in terms of losing body fat and gaining lean muscle, gaining more definition, has been through consistently tracking macros. When you track macros, you really are doing something that is helping with a body recomposition rather than just a weight loss. It's very situational. When you start to track macros, results can vary based on your starting point. Sometimes for people that have weight to lose, the weight comes off first, then comes body recomposition. If you're someone that feels like you're more just really looking for a body fat and muscle mass change, you might go right into the body recomp phase when it comes to tracking. So consistently tracking macros has 100% been the reason I've been able to define my core so much. I do a lot of core exercises, which I think help. I think that helps with my core strength. But in terms of like seeing my abs, abs are made in the kitchen. I really do think that. And I'm not perfect. You guys know me. I love my treats. I love ice cream. I love to go to fun restaurants. But 80% of the time, I am dialed with my food, which really does help keep my abs defined. For example, even tonight, I've come off a week of travel. So I've been, I wasn't really tracking this week, was kind of all over the place with my food. And so I was talking to my boyfriend about what we're going to do tonight. And he was like, should we go out to dinner? And I was like, honestly, I just want to cook. I want to eat clean. So I feel like when you eat clean and when you see the way your body responds to eating clean, it's more motivating to kind of hit your macros or eat something that's macro friendly, eat something that your body is going to respond well to. I think it's all about balance and trade-off. And because, like I said, I was traveling this week and kind of all over the place, I'm ready to like lock it in this weekend and have a good weekend full of high protein, healthy foods. I'll definitely have a treat here or there, but I think it's 80% your diet. What peptides are you on? Okay, I just wrapped up CJC 1295 plus ipamorelin, and I loved that peptide. I'm excited to do again, but you want to cycle off of it. That one's a growth hormone one. So the reason you want to cycle off of it is so your body doesn't adapt to it. I saw a lot of muscle. I feel like I've gained a lot more lean muscle with being on that one. Also, I have more vascularity. So when I'm lifting and when I'm in my lifts, my veins are popping way more. I'm noticing more of a pump, which is exciting. I'm 5'10" and I have very long limbs. Like my boyfriend makes fun of me all the time. He's like, you are just the longest person. And I'm like, I know, my fingers are long, my arms are long. I'm just a gangly girl, okay? And it's hard for me to build muscle because my arms are longer compared to someone that has maybe shorter limbs. It's easier to build muscle. So the CJC 1295 has been really helpful, I think, for myself and helping me build a little bit more. I am in the fine tuning stage when it comes to body recomp, so I'm not expecting this like massive change in my body. I'm happy with my physique. I feel good, but everyone's their worst critic. Everyone hyperfixates on themselves. So I've been able to see a little bit more progress in the fine tuning stage with being on the CJC 1295 plus ipamorelin. So I really, really recommend that peptide, but you want to make sure you're working out and lifting consistently for that one to really activate and work. It also helps with sleep too, which is always a plus. And then I also was on BPC 157. That one actually stands for Body Protective Compound. So that's really helping with muscle repair, connective tissue repair, ligament repair. It basically helps with the inflammation and that post soreness you can feel from lifting. It kind of eliminates it and takes it away. When I am consistent with the BPC 157, I don't have a ton of soreness. I feel really good. I don't feel puffy the next morning. I'm actually continuing on that one throughout this next cycle of peptides. So I'll continue to take the BPC 157, but I'm cycling off the CJC. And with the BPC 157, I'm doing TB500 and the GHK-CU, which is copper. I know this is so much information, so I'm sorry if I'm overloading you guys, but I want to get granular and detail oriented with this because I know peptides is a newer thing that's being talked about, and I'm all about sharing my experience with it. So like I just said, I'm doing those three now, which is called the Glow Blend. So the TB500 is really good for it kind of is like the sister to the BPC 157 when it comes to muscle repair and ligament and tissue repair. But the copper one is really good for skin rejuvenation. It helps with collagen production, skin health, elasticity. So I'm really excited to see if there's a difference with me consistently taking the copper with the TB500 and BPC 157. It's called like the Glow Blend. So I'll keep you guys in the loop. But so far I've liked it. I'm on 10 units of each. When I first started peptides, I started on 5 units of the CJC, 5 units of the BPC 157. Then I bumped up to 10 units of each. Like I said, cycled off the CJC, and now I'm doing 10 units of the copper, TB500, and BPC 157. Sorry, that was a lot of information, but if you guys have any more questions about peptides, you can always shoot me a DM. I see Hydration by Lisa in Newport Beach. She's super knowledgeable and she's educated me a lot on peptides and which ones I should be taking for what my goals are and just like my general health and wellness. If you're curious about what peptides you should be on, you can always reach out to her. Okay, let's see here. What's your best dating advice? Okay, I have 2 pieces of dating advice that I feel are very valuable and really helped me meet my boyfriend. I recently started dating someone. We've been dating for 6 months now, and I'm 29. I spent the majority of my late 20s in that dating season, which is a lonely season. So if you are someone who's in the dating season right now, you're feeling discouraged, you're frustrated, I have been there. I know how you feel. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, but a lot of the reason I feel that I met my boyfriend was because I did the work and I really focused on myself in terms of becoming a better person, becoming a better future partner. And so with the dating advice question, what I did that really helped is I wrote down a list of everything I wanted in like my dream partner. And I wrote a lot of qualities, okay? No one is settling here. I think it's good to have high standards. But after I wrote down a list of everything I wanted in a person, for example, hardworking, driven, has a relationship with God, family-oriented, that type of stuff, I went through each one of those characteristics and qualities and I looked inward. And I said, am I someone that has a spiritual relationship with God? Am I someone that's hardworking? I flipped the question to myself and I went through and I marked which ones I thought I did exercise on a daily basis, and then ones that I was like, you know what, I actually don't do this, or I don't have this quality, or this is lacking in my life. And then I started to work on those. That is something that was such a pivotal point for me in terms of attracting the type of partner that I wanted. I wanted to be the type of partner to that person in terms of, okay, let me rephrase that. I wanted someone with a lot of good qualities. Therefore, I should be someone with a lot of good qualities, if that makes sense. So I really started to work on the qualities that I felt that I was lacking and tried to develop those more. Let me just say, that's an ongoing progression. Like I'm still in weekly therapy, progressing to be the best partner, the best girlfriend possible, to be a better sister, a better daughter, a better business owner, a better friend. Like I think it's all about constantly progressing and constantly working on yourself. And there still are a lot of areas that I want to work on and I want to improve on. But the important thing is that I put in the reps each week and I really try to work on myself to become the best version of myself. But it's an ongoing progression. Next piece of advice is, this one is so important. Date someone for who they are in that moment, not for their potential. I used to date a lot of guys for their potential, what they said they were going to do, what they said they were going to be, not what they were in that moment or who they showed up as to me on those dates or just in life in general. So stop dating for potential and start dating someone for who they are. What's the most common macro mistake people make? This is a loaded question. I feel if we're looking at one area, the most common mistake is someone tracking a macro split that is not right for them. That is something I deal with on a daily basis with clientele or people that come to me and ask for help with macros and coaching and all that stuff. Usually they're at the wrong macro split. And if you're at the wrong macro split, you're not going to be seeing results and it's probably going to make you feel frustrated and kind of give you this negative outlook when it comes to tracking macros. Being at the right macro split is key. And I think that everyone should be at a different macro split based on a wide variety of factors. You and your friend most of the time should have different macro splits because you guys are different people. You have different workout routines. You have a different genetic makeup, different BMRs. We're all so different. And that's why I love tracking macros, because you can tailor it to that client based on, X, Y, and Z. So if you feel like you're not seeing results with your macro split, I would highly encourage you to get it reassessed. I have a start form on my website you can go fill out if you have nowhere to start or you're no idea where to start, and you'll fill that out. I'll send you an email with an extensive questionnaire. You'll fill out the questionnaire and then I can see your information, see your 3-day food recall, and then be able to dissect that and be like, okay, based on A, B, and C, you should do a 6-week reverse, or you're actually ready to go into a cut, or maybe a one-time macro split. So I write custom independent plans for people every day. And then I also have the 12-week one-on-one coaching program where a coach is there to hold your hand, give you daily advice. You have check-in calls. It's a much more interactive program, but I do have independent plans if you're not wanting the one-on-one coaching, but you're just wanting an adjusted macro split or an adjusted macro plan. What was the first date your boyfriend took you on? Okay, so this one, our first date, we live 45 minutes from each other. Sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts to answer this question as efficiently as possible. We live there's a little bit of a distance. So he drove down to me and he took me to dinner. And normally I don't like dinner dates as first dates just because if you get stuck on a dinner date with someone that you're not vibing with immediately, the whole time you're just thinking about how much time you're wasting. You just want to get off the date. I actually really like coffee dates or ice cream dates for first dates because it's like an hour. You can see if you vibe. And then if you vibe, then you can do a more romantic or fun date for the second one. But I had a really good feeling about my boyfriend. We met on Hinge and we were voice memoing that week. And I feel like we had a good banter going and I was excited to meet him. So he came down to where I live. And one thing that was cute that he did is he researched the restaurants in my city and then sent me 3 and was like, hey, obviously I don't live where you are. These are 3 restaurants that have really good reviews. Do you have a favorite one? And I was like, oh yeah, let's go to this one. This one's really good. So we went to the Vine. It's a really cute kind of romantic restaurant. It has good lighting. It has really good food. We went to dinner, and then after dinner, he was a gentleman, which is great news. We both wanted to continue to hang out, but obviously I didn't want to invite him over after the first date. So we ended up going on a drive and we drove to the pier and we just talked in his car for an hour and a half, and then he dropped me off, and that was our first date. It was a really, really good first date. I feel like one thing I loved about that date was I felt really comfortable. Immediately, there was this energy with him where I just had no anxiety. I felt very comfortable. I felt that I could talk freely. We talked a lot about taboo topics that you might not talk about on your first date as well. Immediately, there were just no walls up. We were very honest with one another. We had a lot of the same similar beliefs and a lot of the same foundational principles and values, which was refreshing. And I obviously met him when I was heavily in the season of dating. So I was going on dates with a lot of guys, and with him, there was just something different. I can't explain it, but I just loved being around him. And like I said, I could talk freely and openly, and that was really refreshing. I will say though, I am a very blunt person, especially with dating. I am very clear on my boundaries. And in that phase of dating, the last dating season I was in, I chose to be abstinent because I really wanted to create a connection and develop something on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level. I kind of took that element of physicality out of it. So I was able to really connect with someone without being sexual yet. And I was clear with that on the first date with my boyfriend. Now I told him yeah, I'm abstinent. I haven't had sex for this long because I'm really focusing on a mental and emotional connection with someone. When you like your reasons for doing something, I feel like you have a natural confidence in talking about it. And I really liked my reasons for choosing to be abstinent in dating so that I could hopefully connect with someone. And that's exactly what happened. Me and my boyfriend connected heavily on a mental, emotional, and spiritual level. And then I was clear with my boundary, which he really respected, until I was ready to be physical and open up that can of worms, all that stuff. But initially we really developed a strong friendship, and there was obviously a lot of chemistry and all that stuff, which is great and you should have. But I'm really grateful that I made that decision because it really helped me connect with him on a different level rather than starting off super physical and then having that be the catalyst of our relationship. It was kind of the opposite. Alrighty, how to get out of a toxic relationship. Oh boy, do I have experience in this realm. Majority of my mid-20s was spent in a very toxic relationship, and I'm going to give you blunt, straightforward advice now, and it is the advice that was given to me and is the only thing that worked and got me out of this cycle, because I just want you to know, if you are someone who's stuck in that vicious cycle with someone where you're going back and forth, you don't see them for 1 month or 2 months, then you meet up, and then you don't see them for 3 months, then you meet up, or you're breaking up, making up, breaking up, making up. It's exhausting and it is so, so hard to get out of, and you can really lose yourself in that. I really lost myself in that cycle, and the only thing that got me out of it was cutting all communication and becoming unreachable. That is my best advice. If you really want to move on and you really want to heal, you have to cut all communication. And I'm saying like you have to be really disciplined with that, and you can't go back. You can't cut communication on every social platform, block their number on every phone you have, make yourself unreachable, and just take it day by day after that. That was really helpful. I was in therapy when I was getting out of that toxic relationship, and I had like a weekly therapy appointment, and every week I'd report back to my therapist and be like, another week without talking, another week without communicating. And as the weeks went on, it did get easier, but it was hard still. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it was really hard for a long time. And ultimately, I am in the most happy place right now, in a very healthy relationship with someone who loves me for me. And it's because I put in the work to get out of that toxic relationship and really work on myself. And it was not easy. It was truly like one of the hardest things I've done, especially living alone. I have a lot of lonely moments, a lot of lonely weekends, and sticking to my guns and cutting the communication was what got me out of that. Do you think you will ever drink alcohol again? How do you go on date nights with your boyfriend without alcohol? I don't know if I'll ever drink alcohol again. It's just such an easy no for me now, and it's such a part of my life that I don't miss it, and I don't ever have really a desire to drink. I think my main desire to not drink comes from the like health aspect of it. I've done so much research on alcohol. I've listened to a lot of credible doctors and different podcasters on like what alcohol does to your body and fat loss and body recomp. And it's just so unattractive to me that I don't really have a desire to drink. And my boyfriend doesn't really drink either. So it's nice because we never go on a date and it's never centered around alcohol. It's just like really not even a topic of conversation. And so I don't think I'll ever drink again. But if I ever do, I'll of course share with you guys. But as of now, alcohol just isn't for me. And there is a lot of alcoholism on my dad's side of the family. So I've seen what alcohol can do, and it's not pretty. And I think seeing that growing up, it kind of also made me not as excited or interested to drink alcohol, because I just saw what it could do to a person in like the most negative way with some of my dad's family members. So I don't think alcohol is something that is in my future. Really quickly though, I want to touch on dating if you don't drink, because when I was like in that heavy dating season, I didn't drink. And so it was difficult sometimes when I would go on dates with guys. They would ask me like, what do you want to drink? And I would obviously respond with, oh, I don't drink alcohol. I'll just get a sparkling water. And some guys I could tell were a little bit annoyed by that. And if they were annoyed by it, it was just like the quickest no, like that is not my person. So it did help filter out men quicker. But sometimes it was not uncomfortable, but I was fine dating someone that did drink. That was not a non-negotiable for me. I obviously wanted to make sure they had a healthy relationship with alcohol, and they had to be okay that I didn't want to drink. But it's not like I X'd out every guy that drank alcohol. I just wanted them to respect my decision, and then I wanted them to have like a respectful relationship with it. So it's really nice that my boyfriend now doesn't really drink, because it's just more of a lifestyle decision that we both emulate and exercise. And so it's really easy. How do you know if someone's metabolism is truly damaged? Okay, once again, kind of a loaded question. My business is built on reverse dieting, which is slowly increasing certain macronutrients a week to repair someone's metabolism. A lot of people are experiencing adaptive thermogenesis, which is metabolic adaptation. Your body has adapted to the amount of calories you're eating as your maintenance. And unfortunately, in society and just how we grew up, we're taught the less you eat, the less you weigh. So you have this altered kind of mindset of, okay, I need to eat less, so I weigh less. So a lot of girls are, and boys too, but I would say I work with like 90% female. A lot of females are stuck in that like 1200 to 1400 calorie range, and that to them is normal, but in reality that's like way too low calorie. And when you are stuck at 1400 calories or you stay there for too long, that then becomes your maintenance. So in order to see more results, you now have to drop to 1000 calories to be in a deficit again. Or if you eat like a normal human and eat 2000 calories a day, you're now in a big surplus, which can cause weight gain. So that's where a lot of people get stuck in that plateau and that frustration of, okay, well, I'm not eating a lot, but I'm not seeing results. And that's where reverse dieting is just the key to success. It's what I did to myself because I was stuck in a low calorie deficit for a long time, and reverse dieting completely changed my physique and, more importantly, changed my relationship with food. That's the main reason I love tracking macros and reverse dieting, is because it's really positively impact my knowledge of food and overall relationship with food. Food used to cause me a lot of stress. I had a lot of food noise. I just struggled with what to do in the realm of food. There's so many opinions out there, a lot of fad diets. So I know that it can be stressful to navigate at points. But one thing I loved about tracking macros is I didn't cut anything out. And with reverse dieting, I was able to increase my caloric maintenance. So eat more of the right foods and ultimately repair my metabolism, heal my relationship with food. My libido improved, my energy levels were better, my workouts were better, I was losing body fat, gaining lean muscle. And the nice thing about reverse dieting is it brings you to a point where you can go into a calorie deficit at a healthy number if that is something you want to do to see more results. I don't put anyone in a cut under 1700 calories. If you go lower than 1700 calories, it can get unsustainable. The food noise becomes loud. You can get into a binge and restrict cycle. Your hormones get affected. So I think it's really important to properly reverse diet before you go into a caloric deficit. If you're curious about reverse dieting, you can always go to my website or DM me, but that is my passion. I have such a passion for reverse dieting because I've seen it change my life and body and thousands of other women. All the girls on my Instagram and website who let me share their testimonials, who have done my programs, 99% of them are eating more in their after photo than they were in the before photo, which is amazing. Are you going to do Accutane again? I touched on this on the beginning of the episode. Stay tuned. I'm unsure right now, but I'm definitely not opposed to it. What keeps you disciplined? I think it's important to look at what the definition of discipline is, which is the ability to control one's actions, emotions, or desires in order to achieve a goal. I am a very goal-oriented person. I've been that way since I was a little kid. I'm type A. I love checking things off. I like to have goals, and then obviously the feeling of achieving a goal is like addicting. Progress is addicting. So when you achieve small little goals, it makes you more motivated to continue to do that. I think one thing that's helped with my discipline with where I'm at now is making my goal list attainable goals. It's always good to shoot for the stars, right? I'm not saying don't shoot for the stars, but if you're struggling to stay disciplined, set very achievable micro goals so that you start to feel that feeling of success and accomplishment, which is just going to be a catalyst into you then achieving your bigger goals. So for example, if you're struggling with discipline right now and we'll be very real time. It's Friday, you're going into the weekend, you're discouraged, you're not feeling great, you want to be more disciplined, I would set 3 small goals to achieve for yourself for the next 2 days. So that could be, I'm going to drink 100 ounces of water today and 100 ounces of water tomorrow and Sunday. And I'm going to go book and schedule a workout class for Saturday right now. And I'm going to eat 80 grams of protein on Sunday. I'm talking like micro goals that kind of fit into your lifestyle. And by Monday, once you achieve all those little things, you're going to feel so good. You will have kept the promises you make to yourself. You go to that workout class, you get it done. The endorphins are high after. So I think it's really important to set those small goals, which will then lead up to you achieving bigger goals. Also, one more thing about that. There's a saying that I love. You might not always be motivated, but you must be disciplined. Don't get me wrong. There are days where I wake up where I'm like, the last thing I want to do is get out of bed and go to the gym right now. But I get up and I just do it. I do set myself up for success the night before, though. I believe your morning routine starts the night before. So I have all my workout clothes laid out. My pre-workout is set up on my counter, all my ducks in a row. I know the workout I'm doing, whether I'm going to a Pilates class or I'm going to lift at the gym. Like, I know the workout that I'm doing. So when I wake up with organization rather than a scatterbrained, stressful situation. So if you want to stay more disciplined as well, I would start preparing the night before for the next day. Also, time blocking is something that has changed the game for me. And I can do a whole episode on discipline. I feel like I'm getting on a tangent right now. So maybe if you guys want, let me know if you want a whole episode on like achieving goals, discipline, all that stuff. Best core exercises to sculpt your waist. Okay, my favorite core exercises for your waist specifically, which I feel like is more your oblique area. I love standing dumbbell oblique crunches, plank hip dips, plank side hip dips, and bicycle crunches are really good. Those 4 are some of my favorite core exercises. Also, weighted bird dogs are amazing. You really like crunch in with the dumbbell and like suck your belly button in, and it really like attacks your core muscles. I think form with core is key. Every exercise is a core exercise. So it doesn't matter if I'm doing legs or upper body, I'm always flexing my core. Therefore, my core is always engaged. So it's constantly working throughout the workout. Also, like 99% of my workouts in my workout programs start with core. I think you activate your core first thing, and then you're using it throughout the workout because it's warmed up and it's already activated. And let's be real here, the amount of times after I finish a lift, the last thing I'm doing is core. I know that sometimes people save core for the last thing, but after I do my lift, like, I don't want to do core. I just want to get out of there. So I like starting with core. It's a good little warm up. I'm activating my core and I'm getting it done. And then I do whatever muscle group I'm lifting that day. Where did you grow up? Okay, so I grew up in Northern California, and my parents still live in Northern California. They're in like the Folsom Auburn area, which is a beautiful area. I actually really love Northern California. I feel like where my parents live is a gem of a place. It's got a little bit more of like a country vibe. They have some acreage, and even though they live in, like I said, more of a country area, the grocery store is 10 minutes, the mall is 15 minutes. So they're still really close to civilization, which is nice. But then they have this kind of secluded, really serene property. So I'm really excited to go home for Thanksgiving break this year, or Thanksgiving break. I'm not in college anymore. Thanksgiving week, because my parents' home is just like a little sanctuary. So maybe I'll film some fun videos there too, just so you guys can see it, because they just redid their house and it's really pretty and it's just such a good vibe and energy. So I do love Northern California. I live in Southern California now, and I feel that this is where I belong. I love the beach. I love the weather. I love the people here, the energy. It's just such a good place. And I just love, honestly, the weather. You just can't beat it. It's like 70 or 75 and sunny every day. And it's just such a good environment to be in. I feel like Orange County is a very positive place. Like, you wake up, it's sunny out, people are outside, people are walking, moving around. It's just like a really happy place. What's something about you people would be surprised to learn? Okay, let's see here. I would say I am very introverted. Like, I don't think people understand that. My close friends right now are probably laughing because I think I come off more like I have an outgoing personality. I'm definitely not a high energy person. I have a pretty like calm demeanor. I'm pretty level-headed, but I love my alone time. Like, I need to recharge alone. I really don't like big group settings. Like, my worst nightmare is a music festival or even a concert. Like, I'm just not even a concert person. I like my alone time. I like to be in my home. I love going to bed early. I'm definitely a homebody. So yeah, I'm not super social. Although I would say it's like hard because I am a social person, but I guess I'm a little bit more specific with where I spend my social energy. I think it's quality over quantity when it comes to friends. Like, my friends are so important to me. I have high quality friends, really, really beautiful friendships. And I have, I would say, a less amount because the quality of them is so good. I don't need like this massive amount. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm a homebody and I'm quite introverted. What are your tips for getting your period back? I get this question all the time in DMs. And if you're struggling to get your period back, just know I know how you feel. I really struggled to get my period back, and it was so frustrating because I just wanted so badly to have like a normal cycle and for my hormones to be regulated. I had the IUD for 7 years. So when I got off the IUD 2 years ago, it took me like a year and a half to really regulate it. One thing that helped was increasing my fats. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, I used to be a little bit on like the moderate to lower fat end, and now I'm definitely higher fats. You want to focus on the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, really good omega-3s. And then limiting my intense cardio, I think, was a major reason in me getting my period back. When I was doing spin 4 times a week, I did not have a regular period at all. I mean, I think that was when I was struggling to even get a period monthly at that time. So cutting out the high intensity interval training was key. And I'm not saying cardio is bad. I don't want you to listen to this and think that cardio is bad. Cardio is important. And cardio has, a reason. There's a reason it's important. It should be implemented in someone's workout split, but I think there's different ways to do cardio that are better for your stress levels and cortisol levels and inflammation. So I just think if you're someone who's doing a lot of intense cardio and you don't have a period, adjusting your cardio or reeling it in a little could really help, because that really helped me. And then reverse dieting helped too. I think with where I'm at now in tracking macros, I'm in a maintenance mode and I feel really good here. I don't think probably won't change my macro split anytime soon. I kind of know when to change my macro split when I feel like I'm plateauing or I need a little bit of a switch up. Maybe I need a new challenge. But reverse dieting for girls is really, really helpful for getting your period back. Tell us your thoughts on Ozempic and GLP-1s. Okay, I've never talked about this before. I am not anti-GLP-1. I'm not anti-Ozempic. I think it can be a tool in your toolbox, but I do think it's heavily abused in society. And I think a lot of people use it as a quick fix and more of a Band-Aid rather than using it or microdosing it or using it as a tool with other lifestyle changes as well. I think if you're going to do a GLP-1, you should also be changing different areas of your life with your diet, your movement, sleep, all of that stuff. If you do a GLP-1 strictly for weight loss and you take a pretty high dose of it and you experience weight loss, but you don't change any other area of your life, you're going to be stuck at the end. You're not going to know what to do. I get a lot of DMs and emails from girls that are at the end of their, GLP-1 cycle and they've lost 25 pounds and they're eating 900 calories a day and they're like, I have no idea what to do. Do I just keep doing this? And that's where I'm like, no, you've come to the right place. Like, we're going to reverse diet you. If you're on a GLP-1 right now, I am your next step. Reverse dieting is amazing. And I reverse dieted a lot of people after they finish the GLP-1 or as they're tapering off their GLP-1, they'll start to reverse diet. So I'm not anti-Ozempic. I've never done it. I don't plan on doing it, but I'm not I'm not like a polarized person. I think there could be a time and a place for someone to do a GLP-1. And like I said, I just think it's important to change other areas of your life with it so you're not stuck at the end. Do you prefer a higher carb or higher fat macro split for yourself? I've done both. I've done so many different things with tracking macros and macro splits. I've carb cycled, I've done reverses, cuts, I've been in maintenance phases. And ultimately right now, I feel really good with a high protein, higher fat. I would say my carbs are moderate to lower. I don't do any intense interval training, so I don't run or do spin. So I feel like with my workout split right now and how I feel in my body, a higher fat split is definitely what I'm favoring. I also just love fats, avocado, salmon, mixed nuts. I love olive oil. I just feel like naturally I crave protein and fats, hard-boiled eggs. I've also been doing more full fat Greek yogurt sometime, which is really satiating. And I mix that with cottage cheese. So yeah, definitely on a little bit of a higher protein, higher fat split, but I still eat carbs. I'm not scared of carbs. I'm still eating a really good amount of carbs a day, but a little bit lower than I was when I was doing, spin 4 times a week. What's the worst date you've ever been on? Oh boy, buckle up. I have a bad date story I'll share. So this was probably, oh my gosh, like 2.5 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago. There's been times where there's been seasons of dating I've been in where I haven't taken it very seriously, and I've just been kind of going on dates to go through the motions and go on a date, which I don't think is bad. Like, you can have whatever intention you want with dating. So at that point in time, I was just kind of going on dates more to be social, to get out there. And I met this guy on a dating app. And he asked me to meet him at this restaurant, which is totally fine. It was kind of like a halfway, and it was a first date. So I thought that was fine. I don't really even like when guys come to my house for a first date or like pick me up, because I don't want them to know where I live. Like, if I don't know this person, I really don't want them to know where I live. So I actually like meeting them on the first date, unless there's like some mutual connection or a mutual friend, or I can really give them a good stalk on their LinkedIn, social media, all that stuff. I don't like being picked up at my house. So I was totally fine to meet him there. And obviously with dating apps, there's pictures. So from his pictures, he was like a tall, attractive guy. And when I walked up to the restaurant, I was kind of looking around like, where is this guy? And I heard my name yelled. I look over, he's sitting there, and you guys, he totally catfished me. He was definitely shorter. I'm 5'10", 5'11" with shoes on, sometimes even 6 feet with shoes on, depending on the platform of the sneaker or whatever I'm wearing. And he was, we were neck and neck, and he said he was 6'2", and I was like, there's no way. Also, he was 40 pounds heavier, which is fine. But you can't put old pictures of yourself on a dating app and then show up 40 to 50 pounds heavier. I didn't even recognize him from his pictures. And in that moment, I immediately felt a little frustrated, because I'm like, okay, this is a waste of time. But I didn't want to be rude. Obviously, I'm going to go on the date, and maybe he has an amazing personality that's going to turn this night around. So we get into this restaurant, and it's a Mexican place where you can order at the front and then go sit. And so we order, and I got a burrito bowl. So it's a chicken burrito bowl. He got 3 tacos. I'm telling you this information because it matters for later in the story. And he gets it to go. And I was like, okay, that's fine. No worries. And he's like, yeah, we're going to go take this on a picnic. And I was like, okay, fun. Hot take. I don't like picnic dates, which I'll get into in a second. But anyway, we get our food, and I went and got us waters. So I filled up waters for us, and he, the food comes, it's in a bag. We go into his car. We drive 15 minutes to this really pretty beachy park area. It's this park that looks over the ocean. It was a really beautiful scenery. But we get out there, and he doesn't have a blanket. So I'm like, okay, we're going to sit on the grass, and my ass is going to be wet because the grass is damp, right? We all know that. We sit on the grass, which is fine. But also I'm like, why didn't you bring a blanket? You had this idea of a picnic date and you don't bring a blanket. Anyway, we sit down. He hands me my burrito bowl, and I'm like, hey, can you grab me a fork? And he looks in the bag. He's like, oh no, there's no forks. And I was like, oh, did you not grab a plastic fork next to the napkins that you grabbed? I didn't say that, but I was like, the fork was right next to the napkins. I watched him grab napkins when I was getting water, so I assumed he was going to grab a fork and a knife, because I got a burrito bowl. It's a salad type of thing, So he's like, oh no, I forgot a fork. And I said, oh, that's okay. I'll just we can go back. And he's like, no, you can just eat it. And I'm like, you want me to eat this with my hands? He's like, yeah, it's okay. If you're watching on YouTube, my jaw's on the floor. I'm like, first of all, one quirk about me is I hate when my hands smell like food. I just posted a reel of me eating wings, and I have gloves on. I got roasted for having gloves on, and I don't care. I always cook with gloves on. I hate when my hands smell like food, or food gets under my nails. I have long nails, so I just am so weird about that. It's a quirk of mine. I'm self-aware. It's kind of weird, but I hate when my hands smell like food. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, you want me on this first date to sit on the damp grass with a burrito bowl in my lap, hunched over, I'm a hunchback, and shovel the food into my mouth with my hands? No, that's a hell no. So I immediately was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, but it's okay. I'll just wait. We can go get a fork later. And he's like, okay, well, I'll just eat mine. I'm like, great. So I'm sitting there on the damp grass. It's starting to get cold out and I'm watching him eat his tacos. It's just so uncomfortable. We're not vibing. We are just very different people. We have no similar interests. And it was just not it was not a good date at all. And then we get back in the car, we drive back to the Mexican restaurant. My burrito bowl is like really cold. It looks unappetizing. I really don't want to eat it. And he's like, "Do you want to go inside and eat this?" And I was like, "No, it's okay. I'll just take it to go. I'll run with it. Thank you so much for dinner." Obviously I was very kind and grateful. He paid for my meal, which was sweet. But yeah, that was not a good date. And now I'm going to segue back to why I hate picnic dates. One of the, sorry, I'm talking fast. Picnic dates. One of my questions on here is, what is one of your hot takes? I hate picnic dates because I hate eating hunched over. Like you're on the grass or obviously there's a blanket probably in most situations, but you're hunched over. You're like, there's no bathroom. What if you have to go pee? What if you have to fix your lip gloss? What if you want to go check what's in your teeth? Like, I just am not a picnic date girl. It's just not appealing to me. And my boyfriend knows that. And he's not really a picnic date guy. So I found my match. But that's one of my bad dating stories. I have so many bad date stories though, guys, and so many embarrassing ones. Maybe I'll do a whole episode about it. But that's one of the worst ones that comes to mind. Do you want kids? Yes. I would love to have kids. Like, I really am so excited to be a mom one day. I'm 29 and I feel like it is stressful sometimes. Like, obviously women have an internal clock. So I don't want kids anytime soon, but I would love to have 2 kids one day. I feel like in my mind right now, 2 kids feels really good. I have thought about freezing my eggs. It's something I am definitely going to look into next year, and I will be super transparent if I do end up freezing my eggs, if that's the route I'm going to take. But I definitely want kids. I'm so excited to be a mom one day. I feel like I have a strong maternal instinct in me, and I'm really excited to have kids one day, hopefully. Will you have guests on the podcast? I would love to have guests. I think right now it's obviously more of a solo podcast, but I'm super open to having on guests in the future. I just want to make sure they are guests that you guys are going to want to watch too and like are interesting. I want to make sure I'm intentional with guests I bring on. So if you have any guests that you guys would like me to have on, please let me know in DMs or comment down below, because I think it would be fun to do like a guest once a month or something like that. Are you Mormon? I was raised Mormon. I was raised in a different situation. My dad is not Mormon. My mom is. I am currently not active in the Mormon church, but I love the Mormon church. It's part of my culture and how I grew up, but I did grow up in a little bit more of a relaxed home. Also, growing up Mormon in California is different than growing up Mormon in Utah. There's kind of a stereotype with that, and I do think it's true. Like, California Mormons are a little bit more chill, a little bit more laxed in some areas. But yeah, I have a pretty like intense kind of journey with how I've navigated religion and spirituality, and I'm in a really good place right now. I don't really affiliate myself with a religion or like a church, I should say. I am Christian, which obviously is a religion, but I can go to multiple different churches and have really good experiences. That's what I'm trying to get across. Is I can go to sacrament meeting at the Mormon church, which is the first hour of church, and have a really nice experience. I take what I want, I leave what I don't. I can go to a Christian church and have that same good experience, take what I want, leave what I don't. Ultimately, my relationship with God is the most important thing in my life, and that is what I center my spirituality on, is just my relationship with God, my communication with Him. I really have developed such a strong relationship with God over the last year and a half. And I'm so grateful to have been able to establish the type of relationship and connection that I do with Him. And it's been such an amazing thing in my life. Like, I don't even know how to talk about it. I don't want to get emotional, but I just really have seen such a shift in my life from putting God first and surrendering to God every single morning. I get on my knees and I pray, and it brings me so much peace and light in my life. I listen to worship music in the morning. It's kind of part of my morning routine. The first 15 minutes of my day are spent listening to worship music and spent with God. And it's just been such a pivotal thing that I've implemented in my life, and it's really changed my life. And I'm very open-minded when it comes to, like I said, religion and all of that stuff. So I'm not active Mormon, but I think it's a beautiful religion. A lot of my family members are Mormon. My family's kind of like one big melting pot. I feel like it's rare to see that, but everyone kind of marches to the beat of their own drum. Everyone's very respectful of one another. Some people believe this, some people do this, some people follow these rules. Like everyone just kind of does their own thing, and it's really refreshing. And my family is very open. We talk about religion a lot. We talk about God a lot, and it's a really beautiful thing. And it's something I hope I can like emulate in my future family. So to answer that question, I'm not active, but I have a very strong relationship with God. How to balance your boyfriend's food intake with yours. This is hard, you guys. Oh my gosh. Dating someone is hard because, especially in the beginning, because you're going on so many fun dates, which obviously involve treats and food and all of that stuff. So I would say the way that I balance it is I'm very good with portion control, which I say that all the time, but portion control is the key to success. If we go out to a fun dinner or a fun dessert, I'm just good with my portions. And then I make sure that if we have a date that night, I stay super protein focused throughout the day and keep my carbs and fats a little bit lower. So I definitely am strategic with that. And ultimately, my boyfriend likes to eat really healthy, which is nice. Like he loves when I cook. So I do cook quite a bit. I'd say I cook like 3 nights of the week, and then maybe we go out 1 or 2 nights of the week. So I love to cook at home, and that makes it really easy when it comes to tracking macros and eating food that my body responds well to and all that stuff. If you could only do one beauty treatment for the rest of your life, what would you do? Oh my gosh, that's hard for me because you guys know I love my treatments. I love self-care. Anything in that realm is just so up my alley. But I would say if I could just do one treatment, it would be facials, because facials are amazing for not only like your skin health, but also you can get different types of facials to help your facial structure, like buccal massage facials. You can do lymphatic drainage facials, and they have the microneedling and all of those treatments. So I would say if I could only do one beauty treatment for the rest of my life, it would be facials. And I see Summer in Orange County. Her name is the OC facialist. She's amazing. I love her for my facial treatments. Advice on how to be confident. Okay. Advice on how to be confident. I'm trying to answer this in a direct way because it could go so many ways. I would say the main takeaway on how I've been able to really establish my confidence has come from within. I worked heavily on this in therapy. So I used to be very much more externally focused. I would lead with my external values. I wasn't necessarily leading with my internal values. And once I made the switch and started to work on my internal values and exercise those throughout the day and lead with them, my internal values became the cake, and then the external values was like the icing on the cake. So I really think working on who you are as a person really helps to develop confidence. This is something I'll do if I'm ever feeling a little bit insecure, because we're all human. We all go through phases and moments of insecurity. And so when I'm having those, or I'm in that kind of rut, I will write down 2 or 3 of my internal values in my notes that morning, and then ways that I'm going to do them throughout the day to help myself work on them. Okay, so for example, like today, if I were to write down 2 internal values, I might write down kind and service-oriented. Like I think I'm kind and I think I'm service-oriented. So what 2 ways am I going to exercise those today? And then when I exercise those 2 things, at the end of the day, you feel good. You feel like a better person and you're working on yourself. And when you're internally confident, I don't know, it changes the way you show up. Like I don't lead external anymore, whereas in my mid-20s, I led, like I said, much more externally. And don't get me wrong, I want to look good. Like I want to look good. I want to be fit. Appearance is important to me, but the most important thing to me is how I'm treating others, how I'm treating the girl at the coffee shop, how I'm treating my family, my boyfriend, my friends. I think it's so important to treat others with kindness, and how you treat people and how you show up in the world in terms of how you make someone feel has much more of an impact than how you look. Looks are the icing on the cake. One more point about this. If you go on a date with someone who's super attractive, 6'5", makes a lot of money, and they open their mouth and they're egotistical and annoying or arrogant, they become a lot less attractive. Like, looks only go so far. I know that's commonly said, but that is true. A hot person is only hot until they open their mouth sometimes, you know? So looks fade, they don't last forever. And I just feel like working on yourself as a person is really a way to establish true confidence in yourself. I think we're going to wrap up with that question. This was such a fun episode. Let me know if you guys liked it. I can do kind of more Q&As as time goes on. You can follow my Instagram's link down below. If I talked about anything, I'll link it down below. I'll have my website, my workout programs, one-on-one coaching. You can always email me or DM me if you're curious about macros or reverse dieting. And I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.